Hey Life West, this is Dr. James Beadle. I'm here to talk to you about this Rapid CMR that people have been talking about. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and just dive right on in. This screen right now is showing you three different documents. Okay, this first document you guys are all very, very familiar with. This is the narrative template that's up in the clinic right now. As you open it up, very familiar, a lot of red, a lot of black, and it can be a little frustrating to deal with. I actually, obviously I did this 3 years ago, and this was tedious. The one that we had 3 years ago was a little bit different than what it is now, but still same principle. You have to highlight that red section, like so, type in what you want, and as you do that, then you have to highlight this again, make it black, and it just makes it very tedious. Okay, it makes it to where a document that should be only taking maybe 15, 20, maximum 30 minutes to write, instead is actually taking up to like 2 to 3 hours. Okay, very frustrating. Nobody likes writing these narratives. Okay, even the doctors that read them don't like to write them. Okay, nobody likes these, but this is the evil thing that everyone has to do as we're trying to become doctors. Except, ironically, when you're an actual doctor, you really don't have to write this like this. Anyways, nonetheless, let me go ahead and show you what I created. So these two right here, this is actually what I created 3 years ago, and I was able to bring down the time frame from 2 to 3 hours of writing a narrative down to about 15 to maximum about 30 minutes. The neat thing was that one day I was able to actually do 4 CMRs within an hour's time frame, because I was able to, or 4 narratives, sorry, and within an hour's time frame because of this program. You just can't do that with this old program over here on this left. Okay. Now this one on the center right here, this is the narrative initial template. This is just the Excel file that you're going to type in your information, okay, for the patient. This one over here is where it's going to make it nice and pretty, taking all this information and converting it into something more like this one that we're all familiar with. Okay, let's go ahead and look at this Excel document. I already have information typed in here just for the convenience of this video, but what you're going to see is a series of cells. Okay, if you're familiar with Excel, great. You're going to be able to kind of tune out here for a second. If you're not familiar with Excel, let me just kind of orientate you just a little bit. Over here on this left-hand side are your headers. Okay, your intern name, your dot code, faculty advisor, all these things. Okay, these are just ways to kind of orientate you of what are you looking at. This D column right here, the color is different. It's different for a reason, because that is where you actually input the information that you're wanting to input. Okay, for instance, the patient name, you would type in the patient name. Over here on the E column, you're going to see paragraphs. Okay, these paragraphs are automatically typed out as you're filling out this D column. Okay. And then on the very, very far is the F. We'll get over there when the time comes. Okay. You're mainly dealing with this view. All right. There are 2 tabs. One is an old patient tab, and then you have your current tab, which is called data. We're just going to look at this one for right now, and then I'll go into this other tab later on at the end of the whole discussion. Okay. Now, with that being said, go ahead and refocus yourself into what we're looking at. Okay. Now, these first 3 are crucial to this program. I'll go ahead and delete it for right now and show you why it's so crucial. Okay. If nothing's there, it's highlighted red saying, hey, you need to put something into this section. Okay. As you can see right here, it says, please type your name, dot code, and faculty advisor's name before entering anything else. All right. So let's go ahead and put in my name. Got it. Dot code, and then faculty advisor, and we're set to go. Everything types up nice and neat. Okay. However, let's say that I actually didn't buy the program and I gave it to someone else and gave it to my friend named Jimbo. When I do that, it breaks the program. Okay, it automatically says, hey, this is a pirated copy. Please contact Dr. James Beadle to purchase a legal copy, and gives you my email address so that you can actually purchase it. Okay. For those of you who have purchased it, your information is hard-coded into the program, so you'll be just fine. Okay. All right, moving on. Down through here, you have the patient demographics. Okay, and just kind of show you roughly how this E column is going to look. I'll go ahead and delete this real quick and show you how this E column presents. So patient name, John Doe, okay, and it tries to formulate who this John Doe is over here. Well, it's not going to do a very good job because we don't have anything besides the name. So file number, let's go ahead and put in our 99999A. Age, well, let's see. This John Doe is kind of young. Why not? 25 years old. Gender, well, John is a male, so we're going to change him to a male. And you see that it automatically put in a Mr. In fact, you're going to see down here that it changes everything else also. Okay, this one's really crucial to get correct. If you have it as an F for female, you'll see a Miss or a Mrs. And you're going to see down here that's even she. Okay, this is the whole gender thing that's crucial for this document. Occupation. Well, let's see the occupation. What could the occupation be? Let's say hairdresser. All right, let's actually make that into two separate words. To do that, you can either just retype it, or you can come up to this upper section up here and retype it. Okay. Or just alter it, all right? Either one totally works. That's just the program of Excel. What day did we start this document? Well, let's say we started at 6/2/2015, which is today, and you can see it's already starting to create more of what it's looking like. Okay, type of patient. This one's going to automatically let you know when the reeval is due. You don't have to calculate that anymore. So yeah, let's go ahead and say new patient. Chief complaint. This is also important because it can either be a headache or the first complaint. This reason is because the cephalogid paperwork is different than just a complaint paperwork. Okay, so let's go ahead and say complaint number 1. As we do that, now we can see that this header that you actually have in this document, so we're looking at this paragraph, okay, is already written. Okay, we didn't have to highlight anything, delete anything. It just automatically formats it correctly. All right. I'm not going to go through complaints and such. That's going to be more of an in-depth type of demonstration, but needless to say, you simply just fill out the information that's on the paperwork. You select the region. These regions correspond to the hit list, and we can change it to lumbalgia, and it will change it up here saying, hey, it's lumbalgia. Okay. It should be pretty common sense from here. If you have any questions, just let me know. As you're filling this out, though, you can see over here in this auto diagnosis, it is trying to figure out what is the diagnosis of this patient. So the onset was set to 6/1/2015, which was just yesterday. So it would make sense that it's going to say acute. All right. Mild to severe. Well, why is it doing that? Because we put for the severity 2 through 9. Frequent. Why? Because we said it was frequent. All right. Why lumbalgia? Well, because we said it was lumbalgia. Very simple, very intuitive of how we actually think. All right. If we did actually say the onset was last month, well, that's going to change it to now chronic. Okay. All right, so we're going to skip the complaint section. So this is one complaint. This is complaint number 2. This is complaint number 3. This section is the headache section. All right. This one, again, is very lengthy only because the paperwork is very lengthy. I'm not going to go through of how to fill this out because, again, it should be pretty intuitive because you've already filled out on the paperwork. All right. Let's get down here to the x-ray section. This x-ray section right here is everything that you have to do for the x-rays. So the first major question is, were the x-rays taken? Yes or no? If it's a no, then it just says no x-rays were taken on the patient. Simple, right? Pretty easy stuff. But most of us do take x-rays, so we're going to say yes. And you fill it out just like everything else. When were they taken? Were they taken elsewhere? If it was at Life West, you can just leave it blank. Okay, most of them are going to be done at Life West. If it was taken somewhere else, just go ahead and type it in. How many views were taken of each section? And then you have your cervical spine area. Okay, and then you have your thoracic spine area, your lumbar area, your extremities, and any additional x-ray findings, clinical impression, or technical assessment. So going back up here, this section right here should look really familiar to you because that is this section right here. Okay. Down here, this section for the alignment, bones, cartilage, soft tissue, that should look very familiar because that's actually going into that x-ray impression and also into the alignment section or bones or cartilage, soft tissue. Okay. Same thing with the thoracic, lumbar spine, same thing. Okay. All right, so that should make sense for the x-ray. Let me just go ahead and kind of go back because this is actually kind of neat. So what's nice about this is that you don't have to figure out the verbiage anymore of how do you write this out, okay? It automatically says there's a right inclination of the cervical spine, okay? All you have to do is say, hey, the lateral deviation was actually to the left. Oh, hey, just put down left. Sweet. How much was the degrees? Well, hey, it was 15 degrees. Well, that's going to put that in the template at the bottom. You can say, what's the lordosis and such, but it's all automatic, and that's the beauty of this whole thing, guys, is that you're able to quickly put in the information, and this spits out the beautiful verbiage that you just don't want to type. Okay, who wants to constantly type out osteophytic formation was visualized on the following segments? Blah 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 blah. It's just not fun. Okay, we just understand. Oh, hey, guess what? That's DJD. Well, down here we can say that, but up here we can't. So make our lives easier and just type it in once up here and not have to do it twice. Okay. All right. Going on down here to the updated DDX and DX. All right. This is pretty darn important because you're trying to rule in and rule out the different diagnoses, or not diagnoses, but the differential diagnosis. Let's go ahead and go back up to our complaint number 1. Okay. Reason being is because when you select that region, okay, whatever it may be, let's go back to that lumbalgia. Down here in this DDX section, it will automatically select the hit list for whatever you put up here. So since we selected lumbalgia, well, these are all the things that would correlate with the differential diagnosis of lumbalgia. You don't have to look up the hit list. It's all right there. So you select which one you like. Let's go ahead and say late effects of sprain strain. When you scroll down here, over here it's going to say DDX number 1. Hey, late effects of sprain strain. Okay, so did we rule that in or did we rule that out? Let's go and say we ruled this one in. Well, if we ruled it in, we don't need this one because it's saying if ruled out, why did you rule it in? If you did rule it in, well, why did you rule it in? Well, I rule it in because what? Patient history. Yeah, you can put in whatever you want. You can see down here, late effects of sprain strain ruled in based on patient history. Done. Let's see, DX number 2 we have written down as repetitive motion. Well, repetitive motion, let's go and say that one was ruled out. All right. If it was ruled out, then we need to say, okay, why did we rule it in the first place? Well, we ruled it in due to what? Patient history. Why not? That sounds like a great idea. And then why did you rule it out? Well, whatever exam finding was negative. Exam was negative. All right, we can say chems was negative or X-rays showed blah blah blah. We can write whatever we want, and it's going to put it on there. Okay. All right. Now coming down here, again, I'm just going to go through this real quick. You can put in any other differential diagnosis that you want. Down here, this is great. You have the clinical impressions section. With the clinical impressions, you have your management plan, you have your prognosis, and you have your goals of care. All right. I do have a few of these in here. You can type in whatever you want again, because maybe you're doing Epic plus I don't know, CBP or Activator. Personally, I do the Epic with the Activator a ton. Okay. Any contraindications, PT modalities, there's a few that you can kind of choose from. And as people have more systemic, or not systemic, but things that they like to do more so than others, and there's a conglomeration of you guys saying, hey, we all like to use cold laser at this setting, or this is how we say it, then we'll put that information in there. And same thing, throughout the rest of these. Okay, pretty simple. Frequency and evaluation, you can say 3 weeks for 2 weeks, then 2 weeks for 2, or twice a week for 2 weeks, then once a week for however you want to do, or you can just type in whatever you want. It's okay. There's no problem with that. Going down here to the prognosis, you have the symptomatic, you have the functional, and you have the structural. With the symptomatic, you can say, well, it's excellent, good, fair to good, fair, poor to fair. All right, whatever you want again. So let's say good. Well, what's the reason? You got to type in that reason. Okay. If you do leave it blank, it tries to give you a candid reaction, but it is good to actually type in something. Okay. Then with the goals of care, this gets really easy. The reason being is because you just say, what is the GPDIQ start? What is the goal? Was there anything else? And types everything else out for you. And you're like, well, why is this writing everything else out for me? Well, as you can see here, there's a lot of information in that section. Let's go back up to our complaints. The reason why I did the complaints like I did, this section right here to these double lines is what the paperwork shows. This section right here is our, the corrected diagnosis, your differential diagnosis, and your goals. Okay? So what are your goals for severity? Well, you have a 2 out of 9 right there. It's very nice to be able to instantly say, well, what is my goal? Instead of typing your whole document and getting down to the very bottom, you're like, oh wait, what's the goal for severity? I can't remember what the severity is. Well, now you're seeing it right there in your face. Okay. Same thing for the timing. You go right here and say, well, before it was all day, every day, however not at night. Well, then you can come down here and say, hey, I want it every other day for half the day. So coming back here down to the goals, it types all that out. Okay. All right. Once you have all this written out, you can actually just highlight D, copy it, go to the all old patients, and you can just paste it. Okay. Obviously, for HIPAA reasons, do not have their name in there. All right. Type in something else like John Doe or something. When you're actually ready for it, and you're back in this section, you can type in the real name. Okay. But for HIPAA purposes, be careful. Okay. You don't want to be typing, something that can actually link them to that person. All right, going back to this all old patients. This is one of the biggest reasons why I really like this. Instead of having multiple saved narratives that we're not supposed to have, we actually have it to where it's now just here. And if I need to retype the narrative, I can just highlight it, copy it, come back over to this section, and paste. And it types out everything again. So now you just have one document that you're in charge of instead of 15, 20, 40, 50, 100, right? Depending on how many patients you have. You're just able to keep saying, okay, this is patient number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, 6, 7. 15. It's all there. Okay. All right, that's all I'm going to show with you on that one. Okay, so now you've typed this all out, you're ready to rock and roll and see it for real. So you're going to go ahead and save. Click save, or however you want to do that. You can do the save right there, or you can just do Control S and exit out. All right, we're going to go ahead and exit out the old template because that's not what we're going to use anymore. We're not going to use this guy. You can see how it looks a little bit different. That's because it's actually a template. Okay, Word has a template to where if you actually try and save it, it's going to do a save as feature, and you're going to have to change the name. You can't just save over this. Okay, we did that on purpose. We don't want to overwrite people's narratives. All right, let's open it up. It's going to give you a little error and say, hey, this document will run the following SQL command. This is trying to do the mail merge. If this pops up, sweet, just go ahead and say yes. If it doesn't pop up, I'll do some troubleshooting and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and say yes first. I'm going to go over to this mailing section up here, and I'm going to deselect this preview results. This is what the document actually looks like. It's a bunch of code, okay? But when you actually do click on that preview results, it automatically types out everything that we just did. There's that John Doe, there's the file number, my name, dot code, everything's there, okay? Here's the chief complaint, additional complaint number 1, 2, and 3. You come down here, hey, here's all the x-ray stuff automatically put in. There's the rest of the x-ray section. There's the labs. There's the diagnosis. Put it in the same format as the other template. Comorbidities, diagnoses that were ruled out. Here's your management plan. Prognosis. Here's your goals of care and your faculty signature. Done. If you were like, hey, you know what, shoot, I wanted to add something real quick, you could actually edit this. You can actually do that and say, hey, I actually didn't want, this. You want something else. You can type it in. Okay. My suggestion is try to not edit this document as much as possible. Okay. You really want to stick with editing the Excel file, not the Word document. Okay. So it should be good to go. I should actually just be able to press print, and I'm done. Okay, that's how easy it is. So it may take you a little bit while, for the first time because you're, new with the program. But once you understand the program, you can fly through this thing. All you're doing is just data entry, and you open up the other, program, the Word document, and you print.